Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Now, I don't know about you, but the word extol isn't a part of my daily vocabulary. A number of words in this litany are not a part of my daily vocabulary. But from what my dictionary searches can tell, to be extolled is synonymous with the desire to have power over other people. Now, the moment I looked at this definition, I thought of what I think is the greatest inner achievement in American history, which is George Washington declining to run for a third term of office. The other one that's right up there is John F. Kennedy deciding not to act during the Cuban Missile Crisis by starting a nuclear war. But I love that Washington declined to run for a third term of office. What it must have taken for him to do so is extraordinary. I mean, he was the national hero. He is the only president in U.S. history to be elected unanimously. And had he run a third time, there's no doubt that anyone would have even run against him, except to fulfill the duties of vice president. The ability to stay in power until his death, to turn the American government into a monarchy, to become a demigod before the American people, it was in his hands. All he had to do was say yes. All he had to do was steer the boat in that direction, but he didn't. He turned it down. And I find that to be extraordinary, especially in light of an upcoming election featuring two candidates seemingly relentlessly, selfishly pursuing power. When you put it in that context, it's extraordinary to imagine an American political leader of the highest degree putting the interests of the country above his own. Now, when you hear about being extolled and being delivered from the desire to be extolled, you may think, I don't really want to have power over other people. I don't want to be worshipped. I can skip this one. And to that I say, don't be so sure. I mean, all you got to do is ask a parent who has teenage kids or older what it's like to let go of the power they once had over their children and to allow their children to just make decisions for themselves. Or ask a former executive who is moving into an individual contributor role what it's like to no longer have people in their life who have to do what they say. It's really hard. But more than that, let's take a look at this from a psychological perspective. So there's this principle in psychology called internal family systems. And it's the idea that we're all made up of multiple personalities or multiple parts. So there's like an extroverted part of you, a shy part of you, a controlling part, a fun part, a serious part, so on, an intellectual part, all different kinds of parts of you. So when something happens to you in life, there are multiple parts within you that have different reactions to the same event. It's how you can feel anxious and excited at the same time. When I used to play baseball, I would feel that way. I would feel anxious and excited. It'd be like, am I a crazy person? Why do I feel anxious and excited at the same time? Or if you get invited out at night and a part of you wants to go out and have a good time and hang out with your friends, and another part of you just wants to stay home and hang out and watch a movie in comfy clothes, and you have a hard time making the decision. It's like, are you a crazy person? No. You just have multiple parts within you that are reacting to the same event in different ways. It's the same thing whenever I help someone who feels like they have a problem making decisions, or when they're not decisive in life. And one of the reasons why they're not decisive is because they have two really strong parts of themselves vying for control to make a decision, and one isn't winning over the other. So there's ambivalence that emerges. I'm just not going to make a decision. I'm going to put it off. I'm going to put it off. I'm going to put it off. Or there's constant flip-flopping. The problem isn't that you're a bad decision maker. It's that you haven't recognized that you have multiple parts within you who have different agendas and that need a parent to come in and say, I hear both of you, but we're going in this direction. Okay, back to today and how this relates to internal family systems and being extolled. So consider this. Is there a part of you that takes control in your life on a regular basis? Is there an emotion or a fear or an experience of the past that dictates what happens right now in your life? For example, in my life for a long time, the need to be liked, I'll talk more about this later, but the need to be liked by one person dominated my decisions. It was a total compulsion. Even when the person who they actually were changed in different seasons of my life, I always had one person who I was trying to please above all else and at the expense of everything else. So when I pray this prayer from the desire to be extolled, I refer to that part of me that desires to control and dictate every decision I make based on the whims and desires of another person. In other words, of wanting to experience being extolled by that other person. That part of me wants to be worshiped, wants to be followed, wants to have power over all the other parts in my family system. So when I pray this prayer, I'm praying that Jesus will help deliver me from this part of me needing to be extolled and in control over the entirety of my life. So if there's a part of you that runs the show, that dominates your life, that expects all the other parts to follow its every whim, join me today in praying, Jesus, from the desire to be extolled, deliver me. May God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow.